What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. I appreciate all of you guys being patient for bringing you guys finally the Kizuna video for this brand new Kizuna clash against Eustass Kid. So in this video we have 3 separate teams taking on each individual 10-star difficulty version of the Kizuna clash. I will be having a separate video up for the super boss, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Each of the accessible, quote-unquote accessible teams that you see time-stamped in this video are the exact same teams that I talked about in my preparation video against the 10-star difficulty version. So this first team here with Katakuri, he's just really good because the Big Mom and the Jack are, I wouldn't say they're not like required, but they are very useful in this content. As well as the Jinbei. And Big Mom both require certain types of captains. Katakuri fulfills both of the conditions for both of these characters. You do need some type of way to tank the death hit on this stage. Jinbei is fantastic for that, whilst also allowing you to tank the hit. He also has an ability that provides the effect to remove enemies' damage threshold, so he actually provides multiple different uses here, which is fantastic. Jack, of course, for removing damage immunity, and then of course we have Sasaki, which realistically, you know, for this team I did actually put a support on the crew to give the color affinity boost, but Sasaki's color affinity is technically better, so yeah, it does work out pretty well. I did end up using a Katakuri on stage 2, not 100% sure if it was required or not, but I guess based on the enemy's typing, I think it's probably nice to just use it just in case. But obviously this is just an accessible team, not the best team to take on this content with. Moving on, we have a one team versus all, which is shout out to Shiren OPTC, who is a Treasure Cruise player on the Japanese side, who tweets a lot about Treasure Cruise, and this was a team that he put out, and I was kind of fascinated about it because it utilizes Legend Uta, the driven powerhouse Uta, as the captain, alongside the One Piece card game Kaido as the friend captain. Remember that this Kaido does give you more Super Boss coins, more tickets, same as the Crocodile, as well as the login card game Luffy character also does give you a slight increase to your points and Super Boss, I do believe. So if you can, you know, inject those characters onto your team, it just works out being better. But the really cool thing about using this Uta character, you'll be seeing it a little bit later on in one of the later teams versus the bosses, is that because of this Uta having a health cut potential, it actually enables you to trigger Kaido's super type when you wouldn't be able to trigger it previously, because Kaido's super type requires you to be at 50% HP or below, and his super type is very useful in this content, generating Wano slots, reducing your character's cooldown due to special reverse that does occur in a couple of different points in this content. And there's such a great synergy between the two. Big Mom helps for a couple of different stages. Pudding is a great driven character that allows you to remove damage immunity, and there's not a lot of good characters that can remove that. King is going to be useful for special bind related stuff, and also he does deal with special reverse too for powerhouse specific characters. And Zoro is going to be nice because he does have the support of Brook, which allows you to tank the death hit on this stage. Unfortunately, there's no recovery bind, so when we use the super type of Kaido, it doesn't actually heal us, but it shouldn't be a problem anyway. Even past level 30, you are inflicted with increased damage taken, but with your potential abilities you can remove it, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. The last team that you're going to be seeing against all of the different types of bosses is going to be this full boost team using the Moby Dick ship, because as we said, you know, with Kaido, we want to make sure that we can be at 50% HP or below, and the Moby Dick allows us to be at 50% at the start of the quest, so we can always use Kaido's super type no matter what. We don't have to rely on enemies' health cuts, we don't have to rely on self-health cuts, and because of that, it's very important that we use that Moby Dick. Now, unfortunately, as we just talked about, that we do have to tank the enemy's death hit, but we also can't recover, like, because of the recovery bind, we can't heal with Kaido's super type. Luckily, we do have this rare recruit, Black Maria, who actually has recovery bind. She's a driven character, she gets cooldown on all the fights, and she has a color affinity special because sometimes we will have to use the Legend Queen special on some of the mini boss stages, and it means that we won't have color affinity for the final stage. So in those circumstances we will have to use Black Maria instead, but either way this team works exceptionally well if you have the characters available. I know obviously not everyone will be able to do that, but of course if you have the opportunity to use the Kaido or the Crocodile as your friend captain, that's going to be the best way forward. As I said a little bit earlier, gives you more super boss coins, allowing you to run the super boss more to help out your alliance, but also giving you more tickets to get more rewards from the Kizuna exchange. And while I do admit that the Kizuna exchange definitely needs an update as the rewards are not as enticing as they once were, more tickets is always a nice thing, right? So I'll leave you guys with this clip and we'll move on to the next boss. Moving on to the secondary boss, which is the Psy variation. We're using Halloween Ace for this first team, which is the quote-unquote accessible team, and Halloween Ace is probably one of the best captains to actually use for this, even though, like, realistically, if you're trying to use all of the boosted units, Halloween Ace is not the best way forward, but just Halloween Ace deals with a lot of the stuff that you will deal with on the final stage, because there is a lot of special reverse and a lot of special bind that occurs on stage 3, and luckily with Ace's captain ability, he does resist both special bind and special reverse. So on stage 2, we have the Kuzan and the Nami special, which both, well, they both give color affinity, but the reason why we use both of them is Kuzan removes the defensive effects. Nami says that if you hit a certain amount of perfects, you get color affinity in the next stage, and if we can provide ways without having to launch specials in the final stage, it's going to be important due to the heavy pain debuff that's inflicted on the final stage. We do also use an Ace special because we don't need 2 on the final stage. And then of course, we have the Ace special, we'll have Capone special, and then if you have the HP for it, you can also use the Perona special, which because our HP is below that 80% threshold, then Perona gives a guaranteed conditional boost, and she also gives a chain lock. Like, she's just phenomenal for this team, but of course it is solely based on how much HP you have remaining. As long as you have, 45,000, you can use 3 specials, and then you're off with the races, and you can just absolutely destroy this final stage, even past level 31. Moving on now to our secondary one team versus all team, and this is the one with Uta as our main captain here. And for this one, we are going to be utilizing the Zora character on stage 2, because Zora himself does do a defense down conditional boost whilst also setting enemies' defense to 0, so he's just awesome for this. As well, he also removes damage threshold, so he deals with everything on stage 2, but that unfortunately isn't quite enough damage to get through. We do get a bit unlucky in terms of the slots that we get on stage 2. Ideally, if Kaido just has a matching slot, even a neutral slot, you're going to have no problems at all. We got very unlucky with getting a lot of badly matching slots, which does make this stage a little bit tighter than it really should be. Using the pudding special here as well allows you to get a 2x attack boost for your driven units. Very, very ideal to use that because we don't need pudding on the final stage for this content. So if you want to do it, it's best to just do it anyway, just to get a little bit of extra damage. You can see that with these bad slots, we just have enough damage to peek through and kill off that Zora. And then of course we reach the final stage, we have special reverse, we have special bind, we do have the Sweet Commander support on Big Mom to remove some of that special bind, and then we can remove some of the special reverse with Kaido's super type, as well as the special of King, giving some cooldown to our powerhouse units, which the rest of the characters that have to launch their special on this stage are all powerhouse, so that's not really going to be that big of an issue. However, the pain debuff is still a problem, even when you do have the super type of Kaido giving you a bit of healing. you can't really use too many specials unless if you have some type of way to expand your HP to really, really high thresholds. And then, of course, we have our other one team versus all, utilizing some of those boosted characters. And with this team, we're pretty much using the Queen special because Queen removes defense and threshold. And he also gives a full border slots, gives color affinity boost. So if you have one of these boosted units, it does have rainbow color affinity. So any color affinity boost makes those boosted units way more potent against these mini bosses because they just destroy them absolutely. But because we don't need, you know, too many specials on that last stage, we can also have Kaido special be launched, giving us a pretty big attack boost as well. But realistically, Queen special is pretty much all you need in order to get through it. And then, of course, we have to deal with the special reverse, we have to deal with the special bind. The Crocodile is really good for this because he has fear resistance, which you'll see past level 31, you will have to deal with the fear resistance. He does deal with that, but he also obviously will deal with the special bind as well as giving an orb boost, which is good. Kaido special will give you the attack boost, and his super type deals with special reverse as well. And Kaido's special, so his special and his super type both give cooldown reduction, so it's really, really nice for this stage. And then, of course, we have the Black Maria for color affinity, and we have more than enough damage to get through. Of course, we have the Alba support attached to Queen to give us a chain boost on the final stage. It helps a little bit with a bit of extra damage, but luckily for us, this is a Psy-focused fight, so if you have a lot of int-focused characters, which a lot of the good driven characters are typically int, then you actually will have a pretty solid team, especially with all these Wano slots that are available as well. And because of the way that the team's built, we can actually activate a super tandem, technically, when we have Queen as well, so it does give us a lot of damage output against this fight. And now we are here with the final colored boss. We have all three teams against it. This one here is going to be the quote-unquote accessible team with Rayleigh and Gaban. Now, the final character you see here is the Fukurokuju. We did replace him from the preparation video, mainly because we needed a character that had the potential ability of limit special use reduction, because you will need to have someone that can at least remove one turn of it. You just need someone with that ability. Otherwise, it makes this fight significantly more difficult to deal with. We are using Rayleigh Gaban as our captain here because they do remove the 10 turns of attack down, which is great, and then their switch effect and special can help us get rid of all the special bind that's inflicted to the crew, so they just deal with a lot of the gimmicks here. We also have the Sanji special, because Sanji can deal with the damage nullification here on stage 2, as well as the Luffy support, giving more beneficial slots to the crew. Nami and Robin for removing the special reverse and also giving an orb boost. And then also we can have the super swap of Rayleigh Gaban, which can give us a chain boost and a little minor attack boost just to get through stage 2 a bit more comfortably. And then on the final stage, we can start activating the rest of our specials. We're going to remove that special bind first with Rayleigh Gaban. Because we have an orb boost activated, when we use the special of Dogcat, it will give us a defense down conditional boost, and then the support of Okiku will actually remove not a massive portion. I think it's like an 80% or a 90% reduction, so it's not going to help a lot past level 31. There will have to be some changes that occur past level 31, but we can use the Sanji with double special to get a chain boundary as well. So we're going to have attack, orb, affinity, defense down conditional, and a chain boundary, and a chain boost from the super swap of Rayleigh Gaban. This team's actually really, really solid, but of course, if you have a better character with the limit special use potential ability, it is going to be better off. The one team versus all with Uta Captain is going to be taking on this fight now, and we have the Uta special that we can use on stage 1, because we do need to deal with special reverse that occurs on the second floor. So by using Uta special on the first stage, we get a very significant HP cut when we move into stage 2. That will allow Kaido to use his super type, because we will then be below 50%, and then when we use the super type of Kaido, it will heal us back up to a decent threshold, so that we're not going to get like well, we're going to lose a lot of HP by the time we reach the final stage, but the turn progress activated effect will still be able to continue. We'll have an orb boost and a color affinity from Uta on the final stage in the maximum possible potential. And then, because of the special reverse that occurs here, as we said, we're using super type of Kaido, and then of course we have Pudding special, which can allow us to remove the damage immunity and give us an attack boost. We have Wano slots from Kaido's super type, so getting through the killer stage here is pretty comfortable. And then of course when we reach the final stage, we have the Kaido special from the friend captain, removing the attack down, giving us an attack boost, and then we can just launch a bunch of specials and just absolutely destroy the boss. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's actually pretty straightforward, but as long as you activate that Uta special on stage 1, that is something you must not forget, otherwise you cannot deal with the special reverse from Kaido's super type on stage 2. So it's very important that you do that, but once you do that, you'll be comfortable the rest of the way through with this team. And then we have the other team here with some boosted characters, and with this particular team, we, because of the Moby Dick ship, are going to be able to use Kaido's super type on stage 2 comfortably. Now, the really cool thing here is I was testing some stuff out and trying to figure out how I could get through this more comfortably. The way that we can do this is we just are going to stall one turn on the killer stage, which would remove the enemy's damage immunity, which normally you'd have to use a special to get around that. And what happens after that first turn is he just puts up 5 turns of Rainbow Shield. Luckily, the login free-to-play Luffy with his special can remove that Rainbow Shield for us. So we just have to stall a turn and then we can kill the boss, which is actually really cool. We don't really have to worry about this stage at all. One turn of stall, and that's all we have to do, of course. And we can move on to the final stage, use the rest of our specials, and then have absolutely no problems at all killing this fight. So yeah, there you go. Pretty awesome teams in order to get through this recent Kizuna, the 10-star difficulty, of course. And I will be uploading a Super Boss video, hopefully sometime soon for you guys, so make sure to stick around for that one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, though, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.